Hello, my name is Becky Saif. I am a drum and bass DJ. I also have DJ experience spanning 20 years across other genres. I'm going to share with you the things that you need to know in order to mix drum and bass successfully. So let's jump into the equipment. If you are using an entry-level controller, everything I'm going to show you, you will be able to do on your controller. Here we have the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2, the DJM 900 Nexus 2, the CDJ 3000, and I'm also going to be introducing a third deck later on, which is another CDJ 2000 Nexus 2. The turntables, CDJs, record players, whatever you want to call them, they are your library storage device. That's where you load the tunes, and you can adjust the tempo either using the jog wheel or using the tempo slider, and you can also trigger from different cued points in the track. That's pretty much all you can really do on the CDJ. Typically you have two CDJs, you can load two tracks, and then you sum the audio together in the kind of matrix where you can also manipulate the sound and color it as well, and that is the mixer. And you turn up the volumes using the channel faders, and that's how you would introduce your tracks one by one. We're looking at drum and bass, and let's use house as a comparison as to why drum and bass is different and why you would need to mix it differently. Most of electronic music is written in a 4-on-the-floor structure, and it's usually represented by a kick drum. That's 4 kick drums per bar. And the kick drum lands on every beat of a bar. So let's take a look at a 4-on-the-floor structure. On the screen you have a bar. You can see that colored in red, that's where the kick drum is. So that's 1 bar, that's 4 beats per bar, and you can also see on record box there's lines where each of those kick drums are. And we know it's a 4-on-the-floor structure because we can see 4 kick drums in that bar. D&B, on the other hand, is 2-step. It's a 2-step rhythm, it's a syncopated drum beat. So the first one lands on beat 1, the same as house, but the second kick drum is a syncopated offbeat kick drum. And you can hear that in this bar. If I take out the frequency bands, so we're just listening to the low frequency, which is what a kick drum is, it's a low frequency instrument. You can hear the kick drum in relation to the snare going boom, ba-bum, boom, ba-bum, boom, and that's a 2-step pattern. Other popular genres that utilize 2-step would be garage and breakbeat. So when you're listening to house music, you would generally listen to the kick drum. It's evenly spaced out on each beat of the bar. It's easy for your brain to hook onto. The repetition is the same, the spacing is the same, and so you listen to the kick drum and the snare drum that lands on beats 2 and 4 in order to execute your mix. But when mixing D&B, it's harder to hook onto the kick drum, one, because it's not spaced in the same amount apart from each kick drum, but also because the second one doesn't land on the beat, on the main quarter note beat of the bar. So when mixing D&B, try and listen out for other elements in the track, such as the snare drum, because that usually lands on 2 and 4, and the other percussive elements that help you with the groove and the rhythm, like the shaker, the hi-hat, anything in the top end that is giving you the rhythm of the track. If you listen to the percussive element, the top frequency, I've isolated it in this track, you can hear that it is a repetitive rhythm. You can also hear the top end of the snare there, and that is also a repetitive rhythm. So listen out for the other elements in the track. And that's one key difference between mixing house and drum and bass, is that you wouldn't be as reliant on the kick drum as you would in house. Electronic music is structured in phrases. Bars make up the phrases and beats make up the bars. So we've already looked at 1 bar and how 4 beats make up that bar, and in most popular music we're using that 4/4 structure, 4 beats per bar, with drum and bass having a 2-step rhythm but still 4 beats in a bar. Count the beats, count the bars, and that equals the phrases. D&B is mainly made of 8 and 16 bar phrases, so you need to count 8 of these bars on screen in order to complete a phrase. So if I increase this now to 32 beats, So we have 32 beats there, 4 beats per bar. Divide 32 by 4 and you get an 8-bar phrase. So 2 8s equals 16, and what you'll notice in electronic music that usually after an 8 or 16-bar phrase, the production of the song changes. Let's increase this now to a 64-beat or 16-bar phrase. Clearly, the production of the song changed. We had a very repetitive rhythm with slight changes throughout, but a significant point of change came about here at the end of that 16-bar phrase. Now, if you're getting something out of this video and you'd like to see more content like this, I will be doing more DJ tutorials, production tutorials, artist developments, all of that stuff on here. Then subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I post a new video. And of course, if you want to like the video and drop a comment below, that would be amazing. I'd love to hear what you think to this and whether you'd like to see more content like this as well. If you're a regular on the channel, you'll know that I like to stress in my production videos the importance of controlling the low frequency content. If you're new, completely new to DJing and don't know anything about production, let's go into that looking at the mixer. So this is your volume control. This is where you turn your track up from 0 to 100 in volume, the whole track. Here, above your channel volume fader, you have your channel EQs. These EQs control the specific frequency bands in your song. So you have a song that has low frequency, mid frequency, high frequency, and so you're turning all of them up using the channel fader. But then you can turn each one of them up and down using the EQ controls. So you can turn down your low frequency, you can turn down your mid-range frequency, and you can turn down your high frequency. So you have extra control over your frequency band volume. The reason why low frequency is particularly problematic, that was very hard to say, is because of the sheer size of the sound waves. They are absolutely huge. Drum and bass, it's in the name, bass. It's very bass heavy. So if you have 2 or even 3 channels up with all of their bass frequency content playing at the same time, you've got a thunderstorm crashing into a thunderstorm crashing into a Richter scale. I know that's not a thunderstorm, that's an earthquake, but all of that stuff going on. It's not going to be very pleasing for the listener, and you want to avoid that. So if you have 2 channels playing out at their produced volume and they have 2 low frequency bands turned up, just make sure that you turn one of them down, either so that it's at 9 AM or you turn it down completely and remove it from the picture. It's just going to make for a cleaner mix, and it's going to allow your bass frequency content to shine through on the other track. Whereas if you have both of them up at the same time, it's just going to get boomy, chaotic, messy, and your audience are not going to enjoy either of the bass lines. Just a very basic introduction into EQ mixing using the low frequency band. There's obviously a lot more that I would do on top to make that mix shine. And if you want to learn more about mixing, I do have a complete DJ course that I've just spent 6 months making. It's finally finished. I'm so excited to share it with you. It's a comprehensive guide to DJing. You can access my 20 years of DJ experience, plus the specialism and the technical skill that I've learned in drum and bass. So make sure you check it out and enroll so that you can fast track your way to becoming the DJ that you want to be. The link is below in the description and I would love to see you on the course. My personal CDJ settings are slightly different to the majority. One significant difference is that I prefer to DJ on CDJ mode, and most DJs would prefer to DJ on vinyl mode. Vinyl mode acts like a vinyl, so when you press play and you touch the top of it, it stops the track. It also allows you to rewind. If you have it on CDJ mode, it doesn't stop the track when you touch the top, and it doesn't allow you to do a rewind. I prefer it to be on CDJ mode because usually when I'm mixing, I'm quite chaotic and frantic, and then I do get worried about accidentally touching the top of the jog wheel, and as a result, if two tracks are mixing together, I'm definitely going to screw up that mix, and I don't want that to happen. So I play on CDJ mode. That is one of the biggest differences. I have my jog wheel set to heavy. I have the RGB coloring on the file. I also have master tempo enabled, and if you don't have master tempo enabled, then when you move your tempo slider, it will change the pitch of the track as you move it. I do a lot of mixing in key, and adjusting the tempo slider and shifting the song out of key would cause a lot of problems, and I don't want those problems. So I have master tempo enabled, and you can jump into your software and set your settings so that when you export them to your pen drive and you put them in the deck, you press menu and load. It's a little bit different on the Nexus 2s as it is on the CDJ 3000s, so make sure you check in advance. And if you get to a gig and you don't know how to do it, make sure there's a technician on site that does. Otherwise, you're going to have a bit of a stressful time loading your settings onto the deck, and what you don't want is the settings from the previous DJ because they might not be the exact same as yours. It's not uncommon for a DJ to mix 16-bar phrases into a 16-bar phrase into another 16-bar phrase, and in order to execute that and have an energetic and smooth transition, you're going to need to have a third deck to load a third tune. Using 3 or more decks will be impressive, but it does level up your technical ability as a DJ. There's a lot of things to consider, even just loading the tracks at the right time, triggering them at the right time, getting the phrases to match, making sure that you're taking out the low frequencies, and just making things sound good. When you have 2 decks, it's easy to bounce between the 2. When you have 3 or even 4, you only have 2 hands. There's only so much you can do. So using the knowledge that we've learnt in this video of the low frequency bands, we don't want all 3 low frequencies up at the same time, but we're going to transition from deck 1 to 2 to 3 in just the 16-bar phrases. So it's going to be really quick transitions, and you'll see how that energy is maintained by 16-bar, 16-bar, 16-bar. We were able to jump from deck 1 to 2 to 3 in just 32 bars, and you can see how in drum and bass That is a lot of energy, energy, energy. And you can, and this is totally up to you, you can be a DJ like that. You can mix that quickly, but just make sure that it sounds good and that your audience have the time to enjoy the song that's playing out. Maybe they want to hear it for longer than just 16 bars or just an intro. Thanks for watching. Please comment below and let me know what you thought. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. My name is Becky Saif, and I will see you for another video. Bye!